Hi, my name is Jeffrey Nadell, and I'm the president of the National Youth Rights Association. We are a youth-led civil rights organization committed to defending the rights of young people. So a little over 2 years ago, about August 2008, I began receiving some calls about a youth curfew in downtown West Palm Beach, Florida. So it's a bit of a dramatic story, actually, but at about 1:30 a.m. or so one night, I began researching this, and I looked at the ordinance itself, but I needed to understand the constitutional implications and the constitutional law around it. So I have this folder still to this day um, of the research that I began amassing that very late that night. And the bulk of that research really actually is from FindLaw. What I began looking into was the First Amendment. And as you can see, some of the information I got from FindLaw was about the rights of assembly and petition. And what that did for me was it gave me a lot of background information on that, as well as a lot of case law citations that led me to a lot of Supreme Court cases that gave me a lot of great information and a lot of great support for our case and for the thesis that we were trying to prove, essentially. And so I began researching this, and like I said, a lot of that research came directly from FindLaw. Once we came across all of this, it occurred to me that the ordinance said that an exception to the curfew was any activity protected by the First Amendment. So I went on FindLaw to find out what exactly is that, and it occurred to me that peaceful assembly is protected by the First Amendment, of course, as we all know. It occurred to me that speech, not only political speech, but social speech, for whatever reason, is also protected by the First Amendment. So I kind of came up, after reading a lot from FindLaw, with this thesis that we needed to prove that the West Palm Beach Ordinance allows acts in accordance with the First Amendment, which is true. Then we needed to prove that the First Amendment allows peaceful assembly, which, as we all know, is true. And after that, we needed to prove that the First Amendment applies to minors, which FindLaw was a great help in proving. And once we could prove those things, what we would see is that the curfew was being enforced illegally, and it was being used to mislead the young people in West Palm Beach, because in reality, their activities were protected by the First Amendment, and they were not violating the ordinance. So we came across all this research, and with this all in hand, we immediately, very soon after, went to meet with the city attorney. And it was this research, it was the research from FindLaw, that really bolstered our position and that allowed us to make a cogent argument with the city attorney. So we had several meetings with her. We went to the city commission and spoke with them. We spoke to the mayor. Eventually, we led a protest march through the downtown. And eventually we realized that despite all this research, we were not able to reconcile with the city. So at that point in time, we decided that we needed to retain a lawyer. And we spoke to a few people locally, came across a lawyer, and of course we had learned that FindLaw was a reliable source. So we went on to FindLaw and checked out that attorney on FindLaw. We ultimately retained him and went ahead and filed a lawsuit in state court and in federal court. And our lawsuit is pending now, so it's still proceeding through the court system. And we are working to ensure that the rights of young people are upheld, and those constitutional rights that FindLaw has affirmed and that case law has helped us prove that they are upheld, and that young people in the city of West Palm Beach and across the nation are not misled and victimized. So from everyone at the National Youth Rights Association, I'd like to say thank you so much to FindLaw. You have proven to be an indispensable source for our legal research. Thank you so much.